Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing a jellyfish tutorial. One of you guys requested this in the comments of one of my videos, so I thought what a great idea for summer. So I'm going to be teaching you how to make 2 styles of jellyfish in this video and I hope you enjoy it. So the first thing you want to do is gather all of your clay. Now the wonderful thing about this project is that you can do it in any colours you want, any type of clay, any effective clay. Here I'm just gathering all the pinks that I have. I've also mixed some of these, so I mixed them with pearl or whatever, and I've also got rose quartz and some other colours in here. So you can use literally whatever colours you like and mix them however you like, but you're going to need a bunch of different colours. So for the first style of jellyfish, you're going to want to make a flower shape. I'm going to be using this cookie cutter. I believe this is from a Sculpey set, so if I can find a link, I'll leave that in the description box for you guys. But if you don't have access to a flower cookie cutter, you can definitely do this with your fingers. Just roll out the clay, flatten it down, and then very gently pull at the edges using your fingers. The less perfect it looks, the more realistic it looks, so it really doesn't matter if it's not perfect. And you can obviously always cut a shape out using your X-Acto knife. There are lots of ways around it if you don't have this cookie cutter. So I've just taken the clay that I'm going to use for the main body of the jellyfish. I flattened it down, not too thin because it still needs to keep its shape, and then I have just cut out the shape using the cookie cutter. As I said a second ago, if it's too perfect, it's not going to look particularly realistic, although how realistic does a jellyfish with a face actually look? But I'm actually going to take it off the mat and then I'm going to use my fingers to gently pull and tug at the shape so it's not quite as perfect. So the next step is to make the body of the jellyfish. So I'm taking the same colour I used for the flower and I'm just rolling out a few balls of clay and seeing what they look like on the flower to find the right size that I like. So once you've found the size that you want, you then want to flatten the bottom of it. So you basically just want to be making like a really thick burger bun. So the bottom is flat but everything else is very rounded and makes a nice dome shape. So once you've got the shape that you like, you then just want to add the flower. So I'm taking the dome shape, I'm placing it on top of the flower, and then I'm gently pulling down the flower edges to create a little skirt, which I think is really pretty. So in my excitement to film this video, I kind of did this in the wrong order and I made it very hard for myself. In this video I have assembled the jellyfish before I've added any colour, which was fine, it wasn't too tricky, but I think it would be much easier if you add the colour, pearl pigments, whatever you're going to use, while the pieces are still flat on your surface and not assembled, and then you can easily assemble it without worrying about destroying the shape of the jellyfish. So the next part of assembling the jellyfish is to take a large dotting tool or the end of a paintbrush and add a hole on the bottom of the jellyfish. This secures the flower and is also going to be where the tentacles are attached. So the next thing I'm doing is adding colour. Here I am using Pearl X pigments, which you can find online, and I will leave some links in the description box for you. But you don't have to use these specifically, you can use cheap eyeshadows, eyeshadow pigments, chalk pastels, whatever you have handy, or if you don't want to add colour, then you don't need to. So I'm just taking that pigment and I'm lightly building it up to create this really pretty gradient on the top of the jellyfish. Once I'm happy with that, I'm also going to add a little bit of colour just to the bits of the skirt that are hanging down. So once you finish adding the colour, the next step is to add a face if you want to, and also to add an eye pin if you're going to turn it into a charm. I haven't added the clip of me making the face in this video because I didn't want the video to get really long, but if you're struggling with that, I have 2 tutorials which you can find in the description box that might help you out. The next step is the really fun part, and that is creating the tentacles, and this is actually really easy, but it looks really beautiful and kind of complicated, but it's really so simple. So explaining how to make the tentacles of the jellyfish is a little bit tricky, but I'm going to show you loads of clips of me doing it, so hopefully you guys are going to get what I'm doing. So the first thing you want to do is take the clay colour of your choice and roll this into a log shape. As you're rolling, you want to make sure that one of the sides is tapered, so it's smaller at one side than it is the other side, and make sure that it goes into a point. Then you want to take your finger and start to flatten that shape down so that it's no longer round and it is a flat shape. Then you want to decide how long you want the tentacle to be, so I decided to change my mind here, but you basically want to just use an X-Acto knife to cut off the excess clay. Then pick it up really gently in your hands and take both sides, the top and the bottom, and very gently twist it to create a spiral. And once you've done all of those steps, you should have a tentacle that looks like this. I love this shape. I think it is just so gorgeous, and it looks amazing in pearl clays or clays that have glitter in them. It really just makes them look amazing. So once you've made this tentacle, I would recommend making the center one a bit thicker and a bit longer so that the others can attach to it. So I've basically just picked it up using my dotting tool, and I am placing it in that hole. You basically just want to push the clay right down into that hole and make sure it's secure. So once you've done that, you've got your center spiral, and all you want to do is just make as many tentacles as you like. So I must say now that these tentacles are very delicate, and you need to make sure that the hole you make in the bottom of the jellyfish is big enough for all the tentacles. I tend to get a bit carried away and realise after baking when they break that I haven't left enough room. So I wasn't really focusing on how to make these charms as strong as you can in this video. I was just trying to film the tutorial, but there are some things you can do to make the tentacles a lot stronger. So I'd recommend that you do use liquid clay if you want to make it as strong as possible. You can also bake it, and then after baking add a bunch of liquid clay just to make it more secure, and then bake it again. You can also add a kind of skeleton inside of all of the tentacles by using a piece of wire or possibly a head pin. If you just wrap all the tentacles around that, you can then place that into the body of the jellyfish, and it will make a much stronger foundation. There are also other things you can experiment with, like resin, UV resin, to make it stronger. You might just need to experiment to see how strong you can make yours. Just a note, sorry a lot of this is off screen, but you will be seeing more of these clips as I show you how to make the second version of this jellyfish. So the way I tend to make my jellyfish, as I mentioned earlier, is I do a long one in the middle, and then they progressively get smaller as they wrap around, so it just makes a really nice shape as it gets thinner at the base. So now I'm just going to teach you the second version of this jellyfish. I actually think I prefer this one. It's also less time consuming and easier. So the body of this jellyfish style is so simple. You just want to take a ball of clay, and then you want to turn it into a gumdrop shape, so it's quite tall but it's domed at the top. And then you want to take your fingers, and you basically just want to really gently pinch the clay at the bottom to make a lip. So once you've pinched the clay for long enough, you should get this really cool looking lip shape, and I absolutely love this shape. I think it looks like a little alien, and it's definitely my favourite style, but let me know which one you prefer. So that is literally the only difference between the two styles, is just how you make the body. So all of the steps that I've just showed you are exactly the same for this style, so I'm just going to speed this up and then I'll come back to you at the end of the video. As I apologised earlier for, I know a lot of this is out of frame. I'm really rusty making tutorials, so I really need to get doing it more and get a bit more practice. But if you don't understand how I've made the tentacles, or there's something in this video you didn't quite see properly, please, if you've got any questions, just leave them in the comments and I will answer them all for you. So minus the really bad camera work, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Do let me know which style you prefer down below, and also let me know if you have any tutorial requests, because I do like to fulfill them sometimes when I finally have the time. If you want to see more from me, you can click the subscribe button down below. You can also click on the screen right now to be taken to 2 of my videos that YouTube think you might like. You can also find links to everything I mentioned in the video, and all of my links to social media and my shop in the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you later. Bye guys!